Alright, draft physics comment video. Yes, commenters. Well, anyway. So these are some comments to start with that were on Hofladay's last video, previous video. It doesn't really matter which one. It's on quantum mechanics, and he doesn't make any consistent points on this subject. He just basically says it's, well, it sort of works, and it's sort of useful, and it's good, and but yes, it's wrong, and yes, it creates, logical, continuous concepts that won't hold the test of time and all that kind of stuff, and yet we have to have this reverence for it. And so I did take some notes on this last video. I'll do the talking points in the next video on what I would argue is this. Yes, it's totally misunderstood as what its function is, in the sense of it's one thing. It's recognizing this idea. What the hell is that shit? The idea of probability, and that we don't have an instrument for the cause. We have the effect. We don't have the cause in videotape. So there's some mushiness in terms of how people are allowed to describe that, and then they call that quantum mechanics. They take their description and say that's what quantum mechanics is, instead of just saying, so it just pretends like it's one thing when it's really a whole different class or group of philosophies, something like that. Anyway, logical imperialist, who's an asshole. Probably the furthest out claim of draft science is that you don't need mathematics for physics. Okay, so just people who just keep lying. I mean, I've mentioned Maxwell's equations many times. Gauss's law is a good thing. There's lots of good mathematics, nice formulas that work in terms of describing relationships. I love pieces of formulas, of course, the concepts of them, the inverse square law. So, I mean, it's just, math is just formalizing relationships. Can we agree on a definition? Tell me what you think the definition of mathematics is. Do you think the actual universe is made out of mathematics? Or do you think mathematics is just recognizing that hippopotamuses tend to be bigger than human beings? And then we can have a formula about that. You can't understand. It's just a formula. I took 1 or 2 semesters of physics, and it was all mathematics. Yes, and you think that's a good thing. You think that's how physics should be taught. Because, yes, you can't understand it in any other way, because every other description of the physics is held in some magical bent field. Bent or crooked or perpendicular or whatever they are. But there are these fields that you accept as existing, and you accept they have all kinds of circumstantial rules, and yet if somebody proposes some sort of regular thing, like there's round stuff that fits in round holes, almost, would have been good if it did actually fit. I mean, that would have helped. It's really damn close. But anyway, yeah, he's just such an asshole. I cannot imagine physics without mathematics. So again, like I would say that all proportions don't exist anymore. That using decimal points to recognize a proportion of 100% you can't do that. Like my rules are, there's no mathematics at all. And that's nothing like a claim I've made. I've never done anti-mathematics videos. This is just such a fucking lie. And, these assholes get away with it. It's okay to be a fucking liar. It is even a theory not possible. Even in theory not possible. Again, and so this straw man fake claim that somehow I'm anti-mathematics when I'm anti-bent space bullshit, I'm anti-Huygens bullshit. Where's the mathematics of Huygens? Huygens is a whole set of premises that you do before the mathematics to contrive the existence of angles and things. They're not mathematics. They're the definite. It's how people define variables. Mathematics doesn't define variables. It gives you a formula for manipulating variables. You don't even understand. You took 2 semesters of it, and you don't understand what it is conceptually, you dumbass. Draft science is closer to Aristotelian physics than he is to Galilean modern physics. So again, no, I think Galileo was wrong in his presumptuousness. Like, oh, I can drink tea on a train and I put my cup down and it doesn't fall off the table. Therefore, everything's relative. No, everything isn't relative. But anyway, I mean, that's just such another, just more bullshit. Like, I want to take physics backwards, which is wrong. I don't want to. I want to just take it back to a point where you didn't make shit up and take weak evidence and draw completely bizarre conclusions out of incredibly weak evidence. And just make up solutions to your problems that are exactly like a god. The dark matter solution. That's just disgusting. DraftScience, you need to go back more than 500 years in order to be taken seriously by anyone. So, and again, if this is all proven, what will be your excuse for your behavior? What's going to be your excuse for sitting here and be so belligerent in defending an idea that was actually wrong? Were you ridiculed and puked on, like people like Lesage and the guy before him, if he was actually right? What's going to what form is your apology going to come into, where for 400 years you mock somebody who was, yes, smarter than you are by a long shot, dumbass? I mean, you're just so bold for people sitting on such a pile of bullshit. God damn. So then the asshole Don Lincoln, chimes in. This is the problem, because he thinks he can wade arguments verbally. Yes, you can make arguments in sentence form, and you can either write the sentences of the arguments, and all yours are straw man crap, or you can be honest and actually quote somebody, like, why don't you quote where I said, there's no mathematics related to physics at all. Physics should have no mathematics in it. Why don't you find the quote where I said that, you lying sacks of shit? He does not even understand things involving straight line motion. What is there to understand about straight line motion, you fucking insane lunatic? I mean, that is so vague, it's like saying he doesn't understand up and down. Yet he wants to do physics. Just amazing. What do you think straight line motion? Why should the words straight line motion inspire in somebody some notion that, oh, I have to go to school for many years to understand straight line motion? Fuck. I can't imagine that before Newton, before Galileo, or for every good argument there could have been 100 other people making fallacious or vacuous rhetoric like Gary. So again, I'm the vacuous one when you haven't responded to a single point I've made. Why does your math not predict the two-slit pattern correctly? Why is it not the graduated from light to dark the way it's supposed to be? Why? Why don't you answer one of these fucking questions? If you have the right theory, why does the answer come out wrong? Alright, then my name says, I'd say the value of mathematics is to have some way of judging true and false statements. I mean, amazing that they're going to use, they think that's what mathematics is. Again, mathematics is all about the variable. There's no bent space in Einstein's math. There's just the inverse square law. But his explanation for why there's an inverse square law is completely different than, say, Newton's. Newton didn't speculate on some bent medium that was causing gravity with an arbitrary level of accuracy. So again, you're just not getting what math is. Math is just a description of relationships between things, and that's all. Proportions and how you affect one, how it affects another thing. So it's just about causes and effects, about the fact that I don't know, you can quantify those relationships. How fast, when I pull this cap off, will the ink dry in this pen? Based on how many atoms of atmosphere hit it and how much it degrades. I mean, there's nothing about why anything happens in mathematics, you fucking retards. On what basis does Mendham want his supposedly infinitely accurate account? So again, where have I claimed it's infinitely accurate? So again, because I say you're sitting on a pile of weak evidence, that means I say I have all the evidence in the universe and therefore you should believe what I'm saying because I have a ton of evidence. I'm just saying I think the logical conclusion is why I drew the conclusion. Why do you think I drew the conclusion? I was born with some prejudice against wacky unicorn theories? No, it's because I'm logical and I've lived in a mechanical universe all my life and I've seen mechanical things happen all around me without the need of any bent fields or dark matter or special energies or vacuum this or none of that shit ever involved. Accurate account of the physical universe judged to be absolutely true. Let's see what he says here. Supposedly infinitely accurate account of the physical universe judged to be absolutely... This is not even a proper sentence. On what basis does Mendham want his supposedly infinite accurate account of the physical universe to be judged to be absolutely true? Again, where am I asking for to be judged absolutely true? My point is, in comparison, if you were honest judgers of facts, I'm saying go back to Einstein's bent space theory. Yes, there was no competing theory for the cause of gravity, all right, because nobody had really been able to fix the particle gravity theory, but I don't think they even tried to, and that's the whole point. I wouldn't have found the solution if it was hard to find, okay? I mean, let's concede your point that I'm a bit of a fucking imbecile. The fact is, it's not that hard to find. You do a little thinking and you can work these problems out. And they didn't want to work them out is the whole fucking point. They didn't want a particle universe because it implies a mechanical universe and nobody wanted to believe that because you're all still religious kooks at heart. Alright. And this problem of insufficient respect. Look, I mean, the fact that my theory unifies is a huge advantage over Einstein's theory. You can't figure that little bit out. But I mean, the fact that it's simpler and doesn't require the creation of a whole bunch of invisible fields that have incredible energy in them. Energy enough to move planets and suns and solar systems and galaxies around. And the problem of the insufficient respect for the process of coming to judgment. I mean, just think about it, magnetism alone. You have nothing. Your conventional theories give you no explanation whatsoever for why these magnets find the energy to move into each other or move away from each other. There's no explanation for where the energy comes from. You don't understand that? And fields, you know, talking about stuff perturbating through a field doesn't still explain where's the energy come from. You can't understand how you need a source for the energy? Shit. I give you that. On what basis is consciousness... Here we go. Where has consciousness... Where does it have anything to do with any of the videos I've made on this channel? On what basis is consciousness existence fundamentally bad? Nothing to do with things here. Look at all the horrible things. Answer. Question. What about the beautiful things? They don't count because good things is just the removal of bad things. Well, you don't understand how that's basically how it works. That if you were going to be able to buy stuff at the store and there was a shiny microwave oven, or there was you get to cure a kid of cancer, which one do you think you're going to buy? Which one do you think has more value, retard? Oh God, is this any more reasonable than a bad thing is just a removal of a good thing? So you really just don't understand how you have to be hungry to enjoy your food. You can't even understand things that simple. He has made himself too efficient and narrow-minded in his modes of thinking. So again, this is just the religious people talking. So he brings up this fucking irrelevant philosophy crap as if I'm the one doing some sort of aggrandization, which he's doing with both philosophy and with physics. He needs a bit better story than the truth. The truth is we're both basically running from death. We're not running towards life. We're running from the insufferable dissatisfaction, loneliness, deprivations that come with not playing the game, you fucking dumbass. Alright, he has made himself too efficient, narrow-minded from modes of thinking that had their time. Like, when? When did they have their time? Explain to me when they had their time. Show me where the human race ever didn't jump at the extraordinary, fancy, shiny unicorn answer to any question. No, that's what they've always done, and they're still doing it. Darwin's 200 years in the ground, almost, and the human race is still mostly religious kooks. You fucking asshole. And it's because of people like you. Dumbasses like you who can't look straight, can't look a fact straight ever. Can't fucking honestly describe anything ever. It is as if at the base of his philosophy lie binary values to presuppositions. Yeah, presuppositions like what? Life experience. Like watching my sister die of cancer or something. Like seeing a guy with, who lost, when I was like 6 years old, a guy with one leg, and asking the question, well, what crime did he commit? Oh, you mean he served his country honorably? Oh, that's the crime he committed, huh? That's the payoff for being a nice guy. Yeah, great system you have. Great system you're defending, you stupid, lousy cunt. Whereas I see binary values, whatever that even means, dancing in life pulse, whatever, yes, poetry. God, you people are such fucking little cunts. Little slimy, skanky pieces of fucking gooey crap. My name, well. I think you give men too much metaphysical credit. Oh, fuck. I look for answers more in the man's measurable psychology. So again, I mean, these people are just so fucking desperate. They can't come up with any rational arguments, so they just have to keep playing these stupid, tangential, irrelevant games. Given what we know, I conclude Gary Amenda must have suffered in his life a few very harsh blows. Why would they have to be very harsh? Why can't they just be average harsh, like you watch your best friend die of cancer or something? Just an average amount of harshness will do it, I think. Like being rejected by a potential lover. Oh, like we all haven't had something like that. Everybody goes through life, and you would want to go through life. Just imagine how dismal your relationships with people would be if you didn't actually have something to give you appreciation for when you've got it. You know you don't appreciate it unless you have to earn it a little bit. So you know that you're not going to be able to ever be in love if you don't have your heart broken a little bit somewhere. Probably in early childhood. Oh, you're just such a scum. You're just such fucking scum to be typing this drivel on some fucking other person's video, talking this raggy shit when you don't have the guts to put your own fucking life online. You're just such a fucking weaselly coward. Ugh, dickless fuckers. And they get away with it. I'm the one who has to sit there and say something. All the rest of you assholes just sit around and watch people do this trash talking on the fucking internet and you just let them get away with it. You could at least say, trash talker. Irrelevant fuckhead. Something. Verizon. It's anonymous. Okay. Fuck him then. There seems to be no history of mental illness in his family. Can you imagine the scumminess of somebody to have these kind of conversations? When they don't even have the guts to have an icon, they don't put their face, they don't put anything online. Nothing. Nothing for me to fucking shoot back at. This fucking weasel. What we know about his parents, again, I'm not going to read any more of this shit. I mean, how the fuck somebody gets, he just types on and on, and how the fuck this weasel gets away with that shit? And none of you fucking lousy piece of spectator crap can just sit there and say, hey, why don't you mind your own fucking business? Do you think this is a rational argument? You defeated somebody's argument by fucking bringing his family up in a fucking comment section, you fucking piece of scum? You can't do better than that to win an argument, you fucking ragged piece of crap? Shit. I want to go find your sister and talk about how fucking butt ugly she is. You fucking piece of crap. Anyway. Holiday. Even I am starting to lose patience with you. Oh, yeah, amazing. Although I appreciate it, Amanda isn't interested in your philosophical drivel. Yay, bravo! Anyone who has a bit of awareness should see that clearly. Thank you. I don't know, he posted a fucking goddamn video to some fucking link to some crap. Let's see what this crap is. These undescribed linkers, I just hate their fucking guts. Experimental interference of independent photons. Is this well, at least this one's from Cornell. He posted some fucking douchebag link on my comment section. There's no origin, there's no sourcing, there's nothing. Interference of photons emerging from independent sources is essential for modern quantum information processing schemes. Above all, quantum repeaters and linear optics quantum computers. So none of that shit is gonna be. None of that shit's real. Anyway, I don't think I'll bother reading that now. God, big crap though. All right. Oh, lots of replies to comments, but nothing like, "Why don't you shut the fuck up, you slandering piece of crap, you lying scum?" All right. The photon will never be understood while ignoring the architecture of space-time, whatever that means. You know, fuck this. Wave speed, bulk modulus, I don't know, and wave speed. You silly people. So a link again, superfluid helium second sound. I'm sure it's just terribly interesting. Not. Then he posts a bunch of other crappy stuff, gibberish, gas constant dimension. So all this stuff somehow proves that space is bent? I don't think so. Let's see, I ended the video at the screening of the double slit. I don't know what that means. Want an advice? Ignore the double slit experiment or LIGO. They're riding their horse on their ceiling, sitting backward on the horse. Well, that's not much of an argument either. Okay. It took like I lost a few other hint about two mentioned prior sources. How many sources of light? How many sources of shadow? Oh, there's another shadow lunatic. So this keeps posting drivel. I don't, reach this double slit idea. He's wrong and he doesn't even know why. This experiment is a cheat. Willing or no, I couldn't say, but it is a cheat. Coherent light explains something as incoherent light or shadow. I mean, he's just some Tesla nut. Light doesn't have the capacity to interfere or create darkness or shadow. I stopped the video to answer this, my view. Oh, you're just too retarded. Half-a-day defends foreigners. Jesus Christ. But you can also take drops of water. It's just a matter of perception. I don't know what that means. Light is light. Shadow is shadow. I just can't believe people think shadow is something. Idiots. Incredibly douchebaggery idiots. Okay. So, back to comments on my video. Alright. So tedious. Let's see if this thing is still recording. Yes, it looks okay, so we'll continue. Let's see, I said the argument was made to be simple as possible. I didn't say that everything about interferometers is simple. Well, anyway, the part you're talking about is not simple. So what they're basically trying to argue is the idea is one of the paths is going with the motion, one of the paths is not. The path going with the motion, obviously the stuff moving with the device, the photons moving with the device, will exist more than the photons going the opposite way. Just by, you can kind of get it. The device is moving this way, the ones going the opposite way are always going to have a shorter distance to go. And the ones going this with the movement are going to have a longer distance. But the fact is the photons will actually travel the same distance in both directions. They'll just spend more time going this way. They won't spend more travel distance going one way or the other. So that's an important distinction. And time could only matter if you're hunting for an ether, if you're hunting for drag. So if you think a photon gets slowed down going through the ether, or that the ether has some drag effect, like it's keeping light from going faster somehow, then time would matter and you could see the difference. But if you don't think there's ether drag, then distance is the only thing that matters. And there's nothing else can change the phase. You can't change the phase by things spending more time going in a direction when they're covering the same amount of distance. Without a distance change, there's no phase change. Now, you think that's incredibly simple. I'm saying it's not, because the subtlety is important. Subtlety is important. Another misrepresentation. No, see, I think you're misrepresenting the argument by trying to simplify it too much. We can think about the mirrors and interference effects all we want. Well, that's how you find the right answers, to think and to really look. But that argument was talking about a basic conceptual ideal involving straight line motion. So again, you think this, you can say the word straight line motion, and because there's a time difference, there's a motion difference or a traveling difference. And what I'm arguing is that's a misrepresentation of the truth. You can't just go through this verbally. Fuck you. You have to go through it with sentences and arguments, and verbal is, in my opinion, a quite efficient way of composing arguments in sentences. That's why they have people make verbal arguments in court, because they want the opportunity to do it, because it's effective. You can file your arguments in papers, and then at the end, you like to be able to make your argument verbally. You don't hand the fucking jury here's a transcript. Enjoy. And say that it is more distance. I don't say that it's more distance. You're saying it's more distance. And this is less distance. Okay, yes, but it is, yes. Anyway, so it's all going to add up the same in the end. Well, the fact is the distance adds up to the same in the end. The going distance is going to be exactly the same as the traveling distance will be exactly the same. The reason why that's not the case has already been given. Well, no, it hasn't. So fuck you for that statement. There's no reasoning. How did you explain how it's more actual distance? You didn't do any of that. How the path length between the one going this way and the one going this way, and the motions going this way of the whole device. How did you explain how this has more distance in it than this? It doesn't. Okay. The math is about straight line motion. They keep saying this stupid, what does this mean? We can invoke the account for all sorts of details, but the basic concept should at least be understood first. There is no, I'm arguing your basic concept is a canard. The basic concept that somehow, because the path distance, the path travel time going this way versus going this way will be different, means that somehow the distance is different when you're moving the device. Again, it's the movement of the device that changes the time. It's the real distance didn't change. That you have to travel distance didn't change. I don't know how to say this another way. Anyway, all right. So Michael Falwell says, if you had to, how would you describe the basic idea of this concept of straight line motion? It's laughing face. Yes, I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to answer too. I edited the comment to clear up the one sentence you were alluding to. I don't feel that I was alluding to anything. The question of is straightforward, but to relate, how would you describe the concept of straight line motion? Yes, that would be a good explanation. Hope that clears it up. I won't allude to this, and won't be alluded to this time. Yes, whatever. It's a question. Yes, I'd like the answer also. Okay. But anyway. Alright, so 10th man. It is quite clear you have a very limited understanding of reality. Wow, it's quite clear you don't know what exactly arguments contain. They have to contain some sort of evidence and facts, and you're not presenting any. You're just opining. I think you're a weasel with a little dick. Reality. If you think you have debunked anything here, so this is no doubt a Ken Wheeler video, no doubt. One of the Einsteins coming to his defense. Apology, Gary, off subject. What do you think of Saturn's hexagram? Yeah, they've found one on Uranus or something too, I think. But anyway, it's really quite interesting. You know, I think it implies that the underlying structure, you know, is also doing some geometry. And that just ends up being revealed because this is very cold, under high pressure, blah, blah, blah. And so the geometry bleeds to the surface. But, yeah, I don't... Interesting. So how the world works, sock. So that's what he actually calls himself. Amazing. Yeah, I know this is all just one huge conspiracy of horny scientists who want to get into the pants. So this is all, you know, just all these arguments are just so useless. I haven't defined it as any kind of conspiracy theory. I've defined it as a bunch of what there always is, religious kooks in search of nirvana or something. They're all searching for their magic city on a hill. They're all searching for fun. You know, however that's defined for each person. Making up this hocus pocus up. It's all the goddamn fake. No, it's all goddamn stupid and undisciplined and really poorly defined as science. I don't think they're told in, you know, in university. I haven't really heard a lecturer in university say anything about being cautious or careful in your conclusions, because they're arguing for conclusions for which there was no caution or care. So they've kind of blown up the idea of science being something about being really disciplined and not publishing until you're sure, and not, you know, dotting all your I's and all that kind. No, none of that crap is any part of the conversation. It's just who can make up the most phantasmagorical, you know, Jeff Rose rainbow jacket kind of story. We're all just horny little 13-year-old boys making shit up in order to get laid. What they're doing it for, you know, it's a legitimate gripe to say a lot of it is just show now. Yes. Do you have any idea how deluded you sound, Gary Mosier? So it has to use my real name again. For what purpose? Why? Do you have any idea how far out you are epistemologically? How so? See, there's no evidence here. You're not making an argument. Like saying something like, don't you understand that the evidence of wave theory is so dramatic because of this experiment? And you could point me to the experiment that demonstrates something. Or you could make the argument that gravitational lensing has been proven. See, this image really proves it. But you don't have any of that. You have crap as evidence. That's why you're making these kind of desperate arguments. Do you have any idea how little the probability is you could pass a college physics exam with that fucking attitude? Well, again, I say I have a lot more chance than you do, because you obviously haven't spent any time really thinking about it or attempting to understand what they're saying, and you haven't noticed all the times they're wrong, where they don't accurately describe the simplest experiments in physics. They don't describe Young's experiment accurately. They don't describe Newton's rings. They never show the context of the two things. Newton's rings, 1650. Young's experiment, 150 years later. And they thought it was news. How is two-slit diffraction news when you already have it happening with just one slit? Why don't you explain that to me? That's a simple question, isn't it? How is the Young's experiment news when you already had the perplexing problem to explain of Newton's rings? Dude, you know, that's classy. Well, boy, you are the one of the dumbest motherfuckers I have come across so far. So still no evidence, and you probably have no dick. That's why you name yourself after somebody else's channel with the word sock after it. You really think you're like Hitler? You could alone, without the help of without any help, change the world? I don't know. You're bizarre. In your case, the world of physics. Do you have any idea how crazy this is? That is. So it's crazy to say that Einstein could be wrong about bent space, even though there's a bunch of physicists who are basically understand that they're going to have to make a choice. Bent fields of nothing or wavy fields of nothing. But the two ideas are really kind of incompatible. So they're either going to have to quantize gravity or they're going to have to bend quantum mechanics. You can't even concede that. And the real argument is both theories are bullshit. I mean, quantum mechanics, the idea that there are outcomes that are consistent with probability, that is, if I have two slits, there's going to be light that's going to go close to the edge and do something different than light that goes through the middle, and that will define the probability. That's the wall that the dice are hitting, so to speak, and you'll get a certain outcome because of the texture of that wall. So you really think that these theories are indestructible, that you have the truth, your many worlds and your photons with radar, all of that crap actually makes sense to you, you dumb fuck. Anyway, let's see. Do you have any idea how modern physics? Do you have any idea of modern physics and how it works, dude? So that's, yes, I think my idea of modern physics is that it's all showboaty talk about big mysteries and big, hard to understand, and you can't do it. We're superhuman, us physicists. We're so cool because we understand this very complex. Yeah, no, yeah. I understand it well enough. It's an elitist tower problem. It is very hard to begin to correct your errors. Well, you know how you begin? You start with evidence. So go ahead, point me to your hard evidence of wave, that photons are a wave. Then show me your hard evidence of photons being bent by any force, let alone gravity. To correct your errors, if you really think this stuff, it's very hard to begin to correct your errors if you really think this stuff, as you profess to do. Yes, I profess to understand magnetism. Do you have any explanation for how magnets are attracted? Why don't you explain how they attract? Where's the energy come from? Why don't you explain it to me, you fucking little Weasley cunt? You would have to go to school not only 20 years, but more like 50 years in order for you to learn the basics of nature. Look, even the video, the person who made the video you wrote this stupid comment on has already conceded that I've upped my knowledge and that I have substantial knowledge. So you already got a concession from an asshole who argues against me, all right, that he can't make that argument. He's got to make some other argument. And here you know, you're sitting here just playing this game like you think you're smarter than me? Holy fuck. Yeah, you're the one who doesn't understand. Not only is what you say completely wrong, it is not even wrong. Oh, like we haven't heard these little cliches before. Oh, that's such a cute little dig. Well, not only is your dick small, it's not even small. Not only are your nuts made of fucking popcorn, they're not even popcorn. You dickless little weasel. Shit talker with nothing. You got nothing. You got no argument. You got nothing but insults. You do this shit clearly for psychological. So here we go again. More gibberish. So you're so bad. You're so fucking lost. Somehow I'm going to hit him with the bent space bomb. No. You need to impress the 5 upvoters on your videos. 5 men. Not more. Anybody else thinks so, you're fucking crap. And look, nobody gets any thumbs ups on these videos. The dissident science guy has to, thumb up his own videos. 12 or 13 thumbs up, of his own creation. You are the village idiot, not only your homeland. So he has to put Mendham, New Jersey in the comment. You're just such a cunt. Okay, this is on my video actually, so I quit. It's not on the Hoff. I'm not still reading Holiday videos. Sorry, I forgot. But also the global village. Fuck you. You are a fucking idiot. So not one fact, not one reference to evidence, absolutely nothing. Not one fucking thing. So yeah, we'll not just block him. Okay, you're not just blocked. You're blocked. Yeah. Fuck you. God, what a weasel. This shit talk. What, you think, who you're persuading with that convincing argument? Even the idea of using an argument is so bad. It's like the Simpson lawyers with their, if the glove doesn't fit, you gotta acquit. It's just the same bullshit. It's just a tactic to fuck with a dumb juror's head, not an intelligent person. What intelligent person says, oh yes, he must be a dumb asshole because that anonymous coward says so? He didn't prove so. He didn't make an argument demonstrating so. He just says so, so I should believe that. So that's, he makes comments to convince people too stupid to understand they should be convinced by evidence. Ah, amazing. Alright, so Chiromini, whatever this is, Chiromini. Anyway, I don't understand. The photons are just particles. Yes. And no waves are involved. Well, particles can go at a frequency. Now, some people would call it, like if a bunch of little soldiers are coming to attack you, you might call it a wave of soldiers, especially if they're coming, 25 feet behind each other. They have a little rule about coming 25 feet between them. And so you could say, oh, it's a wave of soldiers coming. So yes, waves are an emergent property. They're caused by something, a mechanism. All right, but the particles themselves are not waving. The individual soldier is not waving. Fuck. And no waves are involved. So again, just misparaphrase. Just like, no, I'm not saying the word wave doesn't exist, idiot. I'm not saying the concept of a wave doesn't happen. What I'm saying is that when there's a wave in water even, the water's not waving. The molecules and atoms inside of it are passing pressure along. That's what they're doing. They're pushing each other. They're not moving on a wave. They're not individually waving anywhere. Fuck. Then why is it the pattern for the two slits not equal to the patterns for the individual slits together? Well, I could ask you the same question, asshole, because it's not part of your wave theory either. You don't have an explanation for that. So this is how dumb these fuckers are. They don't even realize the questions their own physics hasn't answered. There's no quantum mechanical explanation for why the pattern in the two slit is different than the pattern in the single, like taking just two single slit patterns and superimposing them. There's no quantum mechanical explanation. You don't have an explanation for why the patterns are different. They still haven't explained why the pattern is really, the two slit pattern is actually a pattern inside of the single slit, a bigger single slit pattern. And I'm the one with the explanation in the sense that obviously when you move two slits together, right, you change the charge. But it really happens when you have an impediment in between two charged surfaces. See, if this had 10,000 volts across it, and I moved something in between it that's conductive, then there's only 5,000 volts here and 5,000 volts here. Dumbass. Because, Chimney, the tons tip-tap, oh, we're not doing you. Alright, so at least we know who ooh-ooh-ah is. The cowboy. Oh, get rid of him. I don't know why you have to be retarded. I mean, over and over again. It's just it's so fucking useless. So they have nothing. They have no capacity to form an argument. Also, delete that. What did I do? Why didn't it should have deleted it? I must have said approve comments again. Happens to me now and then. No. I think I did that. Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know why I didn't delete it. It usually deletes it. Well, it's not deleting it, so I guess I can't delete comments here anymore. But anyway, I'll worry about that later. So here's another one by the cowboy. I see you kind of adopted Piro's old shtick. What's this going to be about? Before he got some mean comments about his channel having more videos than subscribers, and he changed up his style and then subsequently went AOL. So more just psychobabble. So he thinks Piro stopped making videos because somebody made a comment about him having more videos than subscribers, and it hurt his little feelings, and he couldn't be on YouTube anymore. If you're using the Linux with this split screen and you no longer yell, you fuck you dog. You fuck you dog. I never, see, so they put that in quotes. I never said that. And call people pedophiles, etc., etc. Well, you're obviously look like one in every respect. You hide like pedophiles do. At least not as much as you used to. So again, this argument, I can't even, I mean, I probably said cunt, you know, skanky cunt 4 times in this video, talking about your tiny dicks. I mean, that theory's really shitty. As bad as bent spaces is a theory, that theory that I'm Piroing is even more insane. You even seem to have appropriated some of his speech patterns. I don't even, does somebody else see that somewhere? That somehow me and Piro talk alike? Oh God, looks like ether and pressure and medium. Chicken Little says. This is some bullshit, no doubt. Fucking crappy link. No doubt it's a piece of shit link. Let's see. Darkness without dark matter and energy generalized unimolecular gravity. So this is supposed to be something something meaningful. Okay. Abstract. We suggest a Lorentz non-variant generalization of the unmodular gravity theory, which is classically equivalent to the general relativity with a locally inert, devoid of local degrees of freedom, perfect fluid having an equilibrium of equilibrium of state with a consistent parameter for the range of W near 1, with dark fluid can play a role of dark energy. So they're just going to call the bent space stuff bent fluid, and that fixes it, I guess. Well, I don't find that terribly interesting, so you'll have to take quotes out of it or something, but I really don't see any point why I should read this whole article because you found it interesting. I never understood the deal with Theora's popularity. He is a strange phenomenon that needs to be dissected. Well, I don't think it needs to be dissected. I mean, most people are fat, dumb pigs. So they like to hang out with other fat, dumb pigs. Anyway, LOL. I don't know what that's for. I'll just delete LOLs. I don't, it's not very useful. So Don Lincoln. So this is the dumb one, yeah. So he's got this 2 photon interference PDF file, and you know, I'll leave the comment up if somebody wants to look at it, but it cites nobody, so there's no references to who this is for and what this is about. It's about some experimental device and it has in it it has a ton of typos. Well, I mean, I found 2, and I'm not even good at finding typos. And it said, one piece I read, I mean, I read just a little of it, but one piece I read, it was like, well, you can move the screen in closer to the experiment and you won't be able to see the pattern anymore. Duh. Implying that somehow there is no interference. Like, they're so stupid they don't know that the reason why the screen is meters away is because you can't see it if you don't put the screen meters away. I mean, it's not that the pattern stops existing, it's that you can't see it. It's too small, you fucking idiot. Anyway, so he says, since I don't want to come off as too passive-aggressive or scummy or shitty, well, that's too late. I posted this because I think someone should do the experiments detailed in the link. Why? I mean, first off, they're not detailed. They just show you a picture of some contraption. They don't detail anything. Particularly what would happen if we were to measure the light of a single slit pattern at each point using a photodiode. Well, you can't do that because you can't make a photodiode small enough, and if you use regular photodiodes, then you're just measuring it from a distance, which is basically, you might as well just look at it visually. You don't need a photodiode to see the pattern. Now, if you're using single photons, maybe so, but again, we already, both of us, I think, are conceding single photons do exactly what the group of photons do, and this isn't about what this isn't really about interference between multiple photons or photons traveling next to each other. This is about some concept of wave theory and whether that's correct or incorrect. But I think everybody knows that each individual photon is taking the trip. I'm arguing it's taking the trip because it's interacting with matter. You're arguing that somehow it has a wave property and it's revealed when it has to go through a narrow opening. Also, this is yet another place that accounts for both the slit's width and distance in the double slit equation. Again, so another citation to math that isn't done. So show me the math finished or completed. I didn't see any on that paper. With the numbers put in and showing it actually working out that way. Like they do the math and then they tell you, yes, we went all the way out to the 13th fringe, and yes, it was exactly the correct amount of distance. And the brightness was exactly the right brightness. Show me where the math said it should be, it's not, look, I've already pointed out, it's supposed to be a wave. The light's supposed to go on and off in a sine wave pattern by the math. Show me even a pattern that looks like that, that's not done with electrons. Show me a photon pattern that has the proper sine wave appearance of on-off. That is gradually on, gradually off. You can't even do that much. And yet you're saying, oh, here's another piece of perfect math. Not completed that I could see. And again, what's the point? If they put the slit width and the double slit in the equation, and then through the deriving of the equation, that is the derivatives they keep using because they keep not just doing the equation, they keep trying to convert the equation into another equation. Show me them doing the equation, all right, and without deriving it, because when in their derivatives they just wipe that out. So again, it doesn't mean anything. And the slit distance and the double slit equation. Anyway, so bullshit. More citation to evidence that doesn't exist. If you want any concessions, though, I will admit that Hathaway is an idiot. You're not traveling much higher in the intelligent atmosphere. Great video, very stimulating. About that. I know why you and Ken only have a YouTube life, because you can't get a real job bullshitting. Brilliant comment by some asshole, called Oculus Rift. So he's pretending to be some sort of character, on the internet, and he's telling us that we're full of shit. Amazing. All right, enough. So I have talking points on quantum theory, and I'll do that next, I guess, and then I'll do another more specific, I suppose, video on. Well, we'll see how it goes. I got to do the interferometer notes yet. But anyway, no point in giving you a schedule when I might change it. So never mind that. So until the next time, you fucking pieces of shit. I mean, I ended lots of videos with that. I mean, this whole idea that somehow, oh yeah, I'm just trying to be a personality. No, I'm not trying to do any of that shit. I'm trying to have a rational conversation, and all you pieces of scum won't even go near making a reasoned argument. You have to keep making desperate arguments. And it's not because I invaded your personal life, or I invaded or I insulted your mother. No, you come here and insult mine, so to speak. I mean, god damn. you just can't play a good game. You got no, you know, there's no Bo Jackson in any of you pussies. Anyway, until next time and such.